the hip-hop world is buzzing, and it's not just rumor, it's reality. Nas, one of the most respected figures in rap history, has officially checked Jim Jones over an alleged $100 million Roc Nation deal, and the tension is palpable. This isn't just business gossip or social media chatter. It's a clash of influence, legacy, and respect that has fans on the edge of their seats. For years, Jim Jones has made moves that many admire, building his brand and expanding his influence. But when a legendary figure like Nas steps in, it shifts the entire landscape. Insiders are saying this exchange exposes more than just numbers. It reveals power dynamics, loyalty issues, and the complicated relationships that exist behind closed doors in the hip-hop industry. For the first time, we're seeing how even established artists like Jim Jones can be held accountable by the icons who paved the way. The way Nas addressed the situation wasn't subtle. It was precise, commanding, and unmistakable. Fans are already dissecting every detail. Was this a personal check? A business move? Or a warning to the entire scene about respect and legacy? Every word, every hint, and every reaction is now under scrutiny. The streets, the studios, and the online world are all waiting for the next move, because in hip-hop, one statement can shift power, reputation, and history itself. Stay tuned, because what you're about to. As the news broke, the hip-hop community erupted. Every social media feed, podcast, and comment section seemed to light up with the same question: what exactly happened between Nas and Jim Jones? For many fans, this was more than a clash over money. It was a confrontation that symbolized respect, power, and authority in the rap world. Nas, known for his legendary career, lyrical mastery, and strategic mind, has rarely intervened publicly in such situations. When he does, people listen. Jim Jones, on the other hand, has built a career on assertiveness, street credibility, and expanding his influence beyond the music itself. Now, these two worlds collide, and the result is nothing short of explosive. To understand why this moment carries so much weight, you have to look at both artists' trajectories. Nas rose from the streets of Queensbridge to become a global icon. His lyrical genius has been matched only by his strategic approach to the industry, which includes investments, brand partnerships, and guiding younger artists. His influence extends beyond music. He's seen as a standard-bearer, a figure whose approval or disapproval can affect reputations across the culture. Jim Jones, meanwhile, carved out his path with Dipset, hustling his way from Harlem to major business deals and collaborations with labels like Roc Nation. His career has been marked by high energy, bold moves, and a willingness to take risks, which has both earned him respect and put him in the crosshairs of industry heavyweights. Over the years, rumors of lucrative deals and alliances have swirled, but a $100 million Roc Nation negotiation was massive even by today's standards. The alleged deal reportedly included not only music projects but also investments, brand partnerships, and expansion into business sectors that extend far beyond rap. For Jim Jones, this would have been a defining move, the kind that could cement him as both an artist and a mogul. But Nas' intervention, as insiders suggest, was not just about the money. It was about oversight, accountability, and preserving the integrity of the scene. Sources close to the situation say that Nas approached the conversation with precision. He didn't publicly shame Jim Jones or attack him online. Instead, the check was delivered in a calculated way, highlighting discrepancies, potential oversights, and the importance of respecting agreements and protocol. This kind of intervention is rare, and for Jim Jones, it may have felt like a challenge to his authority, his legacy, and his decision-making. The streets and the fans immediately picked up on the tension. Online forums lit up with speculation. Some saw Nas as a mentor figure holding Jim Jones accountable, while others viewed it as a battle for influence, a test to see who commands respect in the modern era. For those who follow Harlem and Queensbridge dynamics closely, this was a pivotal moment. Hip-hop, especially in these circles, is as much about reputation as it is about talent or money. The drama also exposed the delicate balance between business savvy and street credibility. Jim Jones has always walked that line carefully, leveraging his background to maintain authenticity while scaling opportunities. But when a figure like Nas checks him publicly, even subtly, it forces a reckoning. How do you assert independence without alienating the legends whose approval still carries weight? How do you navigate ambition while respecting established authority? These questions are now at the center of public discussion. Meanwhile, industry insiders point out that this moment also highlights a broader trend: the increasing scrutiny over multi-million-dollar deals in hip-hop. With labels, investors, and artists collaborating on bigger and riskier projects than ever, transparency and respect are becoming non-negotiable. Even for a seasoned player like Jim Jones, the stakes are enormous. One misstep, one ignored protocol, or one perceived disrespect can ripple across networks and damage credibility in ways that money alone can't fix. Fans dissected every angle of the interaction. Was Nas' check preemptive, aiming to prevent a misstep? Or was it reactive, responding to behavior that could have undermined the larger business ecosystem? Speculation spread like wildfire, from Twitter threads to YouTube reactions. Podcasts broke down every nuance. Tone, timing, and even body language in meetings were scrutinized. In a world where every move can be amplified globally within minutes, perception is as powerful as reality. Despite the intensity, there's also a lesson in this exchange for artists everywhere. Nas' approach demonstrated that influence isn't just about clout or history. It's about timing, insight, and the ability to hold peers accountable without creating unnecessary chaos. Jim Jones' response, measured or publicized in moments like interviews and music, reflects how even established figures must constantly adapt, learn, and respond strategically. Ultimately, this confrontation goes beyond one deal or one check. It's about power dynamics, respect, and the evolving landscape of hip-hop business. As artists pursue bigger deals, the influence of legends like Nas cannot be ignored, and neither can the ambitions of artists like Jim Jones. Both have paths to defend, both have reputations to maintain, and both operate under public scrutiny that few truly understand. The ripple effects are already being felt. Fans are debating allegiance, with some siding with Jim Jones' hustle and ambition, while others champion Nas' wisdom and oversight. For younger artists watching, it's a real-time lesson in navigating relationships, ambition, and respect in an industry where every move is public and every action has consequences. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: this isn't just about a $100 million deal. It's about legacy, strategy, and influence, and how those forces collide when two powerful figures cross paths. Memphis, Harlem, Queensbridge, and the entire hip-hop world are watching closely, because the outcome will set a precedent for how major deals and personal respect intersect in the modern rap game. Jim Jones and Nas have both proven their influence, but the tension from this exchange is likely to linger, shaping careers, decisions, and alliances for years to come. And for fans, the story is far from over. Every interview, social post, and new track could carry the next clue, the next reaction, or the next escalation in a drama that has only just begun. As the conversation around the Nas, Jim Jones exchange continued, it became evident that the ramifications went far beyond a single meeting or deal. In hip-hop, and particularly in the circles both artists navigate, a public check like this carries multiple layers of meaning. It's about influence, reputation, and signaling to the entire industry who holds authority. For Jim Jones, the intervention may have felt personal, but for Nas, it was strategic, a reminder that even the most ambitious moves must respect protocol, history, and alliances. Sources close to both artists suggest that the alleged $100 million deal involved more than just music. Rumors circulated that it included multiple album projects, brand collaborations, potential investments in media ventures, and even expansion into lifestyle and apparel markets. For Jim Jones, this deal represented not only financial gain, but also the potential to solidify himself as a mogul. Yet, the alleged intervention by Nas put a spotlight on the delicate balance between ambition and oversight. Insiders describe the tension as subtle but unmistakable. Meetings reportedly became highly charged, with careful wording and nuanced discussions shaping the narrative. Every comment, suggestion, or correction from Nas carried weight, and Jim Jones, despite his experience and confidence, had to navigate carefully. In hip-hop, respect is earned and maintained, but it can also be tested, and this was a prime example. Fans and industry analysts alike began dissecting every angle of the situation. Online, Twitter threads, Instagram posts, and YouTube comment sections exploded with speculation. Was Nas acting as a mentor, holding Jim Jones accountable for potential missteps? Or was this an assertion of dominance? A reminder that influence and reputation cannot be challenged lightly? Opinions varied, and everyone had a theory. Some saw it as a necessary check in an increasingly business-driven rap culture. Others viewed it as a clash between legacy and rising ambition. The media quickly picked up on the story. Podcasts and online platforms ran multiple segments analyzing the potential fallout, debating who won or lost in the exchange. Every detail, from tone to timing, was scrutinized. Some analysts emphasized that Jim Jones has always been ambitious and willing to take risks, but the involvement of a legend like Nas underscores that in hip-hop, unchecked ambition can come with consequences. Meanwhile, Jim Jones' circle of associates and collaborators were watching closely. Deals, alliances, and future opportunities suddenly carried added layers of complexity. Decisions previously straightforward now required extra caution. Hip-hop, unlike other industries, blends personal reputation with business credibility, and any misstep can have amplified repercussions. Sources indicate that some within Jones' team were concerned about maintaining public perception while navigating private negotiations, aware that one misinterpreted comment could reignite tension. At the same time, Nas' approach sent a clear message to the industry. It wasn't a public shaming, but a reminder that even high-profile artists and moguls must adhere to certain standards. The subtlety of the check reinforced his influence, not by force, but through strategic authority. Hip-hop veterans noted that Nas' intervention demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of both business and culture, showing that legacy figures still hold the power to shape outcomes quietly but decisively. The implications extend beyond the two artists. Younger and mid-tier artists are observing closely, learning lessons about negotiation, respect, and the interplay between ambition and caution. The conversation isn't just about a $100 million deal. It's about how power is exercised in the modern rap industry. Every move, every collaboration, and every public statement now carries additional scrutiny, informed by this high-profile interaction. Interestingly, while some fans sided with Jim Jones, celebrating his drive and entrepreneurial spirit, others rally behind Nas, praising his wisdom and oversight. This divide highlights an ongoing tension in hip-hop culture, the balance between individual ambition and community or legacy responsibility. Jim Jones' pursuit of a large-scale deal exemplifies the forward-looking, ambitious side of rap, while Nas' intervention reflects experience, caution, and the responsibility that comes with influence. The city of New York, historically the backdrop of both artists' careers, also felt the reverberations. Harlem, Queens, and broader East Coast hip-hop communities saw this exchange as a teaching moment. Stories from the streets and studios reinforced the idea that reputation and respect remain currency in the industry. Even high-profile artists are not immune to checks when stakes are high, demonstrating that the rules of hip-hop culture remain as relevant as ever. Behind the scenes, there were reports of private discussions attempting to resolve tension. Advisors from both sides reportedly emphasized maintaining professionalism and avoiding unnecessary escalation. Yet, even in private, the dynamics of ego, legacy, and financial stakes created a delicate environment. Hip-hop observers noted that such moments often define careers, testing both patience and strategy. In addition to the financial stakes, there were subtle public signals. Interviews, music releases, and social media activity began to reflect the underlying tension. Fans quickly read between the lines, analyzing lyrics and posts for hidden references, possible diss lines, or subtle responses. In hip-hop culture, where artistry and communication often overlap, even seemingly minor content can carry major weight in ongoing narratives. The situation also raised questions about the broader industry environment. With multi-million-dollar deals becoming more common, questions of accountability, mentorship, and oversight are increasingly relevant. Nas' check on Jim Jones serves as a high-profile example. Even seasoned artists with years of experience and influence can be reminded that respect, transparency, and strategic thinking are essential to navigate large-scale business opportunities successfully. It's clear that the effects will last far beyond any single negotiation. Nas and Jim Jones may each maintain their distinct approaches, but this episode has already influenced perceptions across the industry. Young artists will note the importance of preparation, respect, and strategic patience. Veteran artists will recognize the power of subtle intervention and the ways influence can be exercised without public spectacle. And fans are left to watch, dissect, and discuss every new development, knowing that this is a rare glimpse behind the curtain of high-stakes hip-hop business. Ultimately, this episode reflects more than just a monetary dispute. It illustrates the ongoing negotiation between legacy and ambition, influence and independence. For Jim Jones, it's a lesson in navigating complex deals while maintaining authority. For Nas, it's a demonstration of how experience and strategy continue to shape the culture. And for the industry at large, it's a moment that underscores the intricate relationships that define hip-hop, where money, respect, and reputation are tightly intertwined. The tension, speculation, and analysis aren't likely to fade soon. Every interview, music release, and social media post will now be viewed through the lens of this interaction. And while some moments in hip-hop fade quickly, the implications of a check like this, from one legendary artist to another, resonate long after the headlines. As this story develops, fans, peers, and industry insiders alike remain on high alert. No one wants to miss the next move. The dynamics are complex, the stakes are high, and the outcomes are anything but predictable. One thing is certain: the Nas, Jim Jones exchange has already left a lasting mark, shaping perceptions and influencing future decisions for artists across the game. As the dust began to settle from the initial reports of Nas checking Jim Jones, the ripple effects across the hip-hop industry became impossible to ignore. This wasn't just a disagreement or a single business misstep. It was a collision of legacies, ambitions, and influence that would be felt for years. For Jim Jones, the exchange was a stark reminder that even established power and street credibility could be scrutinized and challenged by figures whose reputations have been cemented over decades. And for Nas, it reinforced his role as a gatekeeper in hip-hop, someone whose approval, insight, and judgment still carry immense weight. Industry insiders quickly began to discuss the broader implications. Deals of this magnitude, especially when they involve multi-platform projects, brand collaborations, and lifestyle ventures, are never just about numbers. They're about trust, strategic alignment, and understanding the intricate networks of influence in the music world. Jim Jones' ambition to secure a $100 million Roc Nation deal placed him in a spotlight that few artists experience. And while ambition is celebrated, missteps or oversights at this level can have public consequences, as was evidenced by Nas' intervention. Fans, analysts, and fellow artists began dissecting every detail of the situation. Was Nas' check a subtle warning or a direct challenge? Was Jim Jones prepared to navigate this level of scrutiny, or did it expose gaps in his strategy? For those watching closely, it became clear that this interaction wasn't just a one-time event. It was a case study in the complex intersection of power, money, and reputation in modern hip-hop. Social media was ablaze. Memes, reactions, and breakdowns spread rapidly across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Podcasts dedicated hours to analyzing the nuances of the exchange, breaking down everything from tone and timing to past interactions between the two artists. Even casual fans began paying attention, recognizing that this was more than gossip. It was a moment that could set precedent for future negotiations, collaborations, and the ways power is exercised in the industry. Within Jim Jones' camp, discussions shifted from strategy for the deal to damage control and future positioning. Advisors reportedly emphasized the importance of public perception and careful management of his narrative. Any misstep in interviews, social media, or public appearances could be amplified and interpreted as weakness or disrespect. This was a reality for many artists navigating the upper echelons of hip-hop, but few examples are as high-profile as this. Jim Jones' response, measured, strategic, and increasingly careful, demonstrated an awareness of the stakes and a recognition that legacy matters as much as ambition. Nas, meanwhile, continued to maintain a balance of subtle authority and public discretion. He didn't need to escalate the situation or issue a public statement. His influence spoke for itself. Analysts pointed out that this quiet, strategic approach reinforces why Nas has remained relevant and respected across decades. While younger artists may dominate social media chatter and viral moments, Nas' ability to assert authority without spectacle reminds the industry that experience and calculated intervention remain invaluable tools. The tension also sparked a larger conversation about mentorship, accountability, and respect in hip-hop. Young artists watching this exchange are taking notes. Ambition must be paired with strategic foresight, and even the most established artists are accountable in an ecosystem where influence and reputation intersect. This exchange became an educational moment, illustrating that while talent and hustle are crucial, wisdom, timing, and relationships are equally vital. As weeks passed, the impact extended beyond Jim Jones and Nas. Other artists and executives began reevaluating their own approaches to deals, collaborations, and public interactions. The ripple effect included heightened awareness around contracts, negotiations, and alignment with larger industry players. Essentially, the check from Nas served as a case study, a live example of how power dynamics function, and how a single intervention can shift narratives, influence perception, and alter the trajectory of even seasoned players. Even in music releases, interviews, and social media posts following the exchange, subtle references, tone shifts, and careful messaging reflected the heightened awareness of scrutiny. Jim Jones' team reportedly adjusted marketing strategies, brand communications, and future collaborations to ensure alignment with expectations and to preserve credibility. The lesson was clear. The hip-hop game is about more than music. It's about strategic positioning, legacy management, and understanding the culture's unspoken rules. Perhaps most importantly, this episode highlighted the delicate balance between independence and accountability. Jim Jones' ambition to negotiate a major deal represented the forward-thinking, entrepreneurial side of hip-hop. Nas' check represented the stabilizing force of experience and legacy. Both are necessary in the ecosystem, but the collision of these forces demonstrates how careful navigation is required at the highest levels. For fans, this exchange remains a defining moment. Some praised Jim Jones' hustle, applauding his drive to secure a historic deal. Others sided with Nas, valuing wisdom, oversight, and respect for the craft and industry structures. The debate continues, illustrating how hip-hop audiences now value both ambition and accountability, and how the intersection of these qualities shapes modern rap culture. Looking forward, the implications are long-term. Jim Jones' trajectory, his brand, and his future deals will likely reflect lessons learned from this interaction. Nas' influence remains evident, reinforcing his position as a mentor, gatekeeper, and authority figure within the music world. And the industry as a whole has been reminded that even the most successful, confident, and ambitious artists operate within a larger ecosystem of accountability, respect, and strategic influence. Ultimately, the Nas-Jim Jones exchange is more than a headline. It is a moment that encapsulates the complexities of modern hip-hop. It teaches lessons about negotiation, legacy, reputation, and influence. It demonstrates that even the most powerful figures are accountable, and that ambition without strategic alignment can create unforeseen challenges. Most importantly, it reminds fans and artists alike that hip-hop is not just a game of talent or clout. It's a complex, multi-layered culture where decisions echo far beyond the immediate moment. The dust may have settled, but the lessons remain. Careers, reputations, and the broader industry have been impacted in ways that will be felt for years. Nas' intervention was subtle yet powerful, a calculated reminder that influence carries responsibility. Jim Jones' response reflects the resilience, adaptability, and strategic thinking required to navigate high-stakes moments. And for the hip-hop world, this is a defining chapter, one that will be referenced in conversations, breakdowns, and analyses for years to come. In the end, the exchange between Nas and Jim Jones serves as a masterclass in navigating ambition, legacy, and respect. It's a moment where strategy meets culture, where talent meets oversight, and where the dynamics of influence are made clear. For the artists, the industry, and the fans, it's a reminder that hip-hop is more than music. It's a complex ecosystem of relationships, power, and reputation, and every move matters.